So up here, you can see in the blue bar, this is our menu. Our typical default menu, for your site. You can choose, what goes in here, what are the primary pages, that's in the blue bar. Secondary pages are the first pages that you see underneath here. And then we have, some of these should have tertiary pages. Go to the website. Watch what happens when I click to the website page. This is going to change. The top menu is going to change because the website section is its own microsite within the Communications Toolkit. You can see that Communications Toolkit became a secondary submenu up here, and Website Management became the top heading and page title for this page and for all pages within this microsite. Here's a better example of, so top bar, primary pages, put your mouse over that, you can see secondary pages here, and then underneath secondary pages, you can see tertiary pages. The way our system is set up, we can't go any further than 3 tiers down and still display them on the home page. You can still create menus that have like 4 pages in. So if you had something underneath like geolocation testing, you could create that in a menu, but it wouldn't show up for your navigation bar at the top of your page. But there are other uses for something like that, for having a really detailed menu that goes a little deeper than that. But we do ask that you try to keep everything to within 3 levels, especially if you are going to be displaying it on as your top navigation menu. So let's go over to our dashboard. So here's what it looks like when you log in. And to get to your menu section, you got to go over here to Appearance, go down to Menus, and open that up. And then up here, you can see select a menu to edit. Whichever one is labeled as your primary navigation menu, that's the one that's going to show up here for your default navigation menu for your entire site. I'll get into how to do a microsite menu in just a bit, but for now, let's just go to one of our training pages and open up a top tier page here. So here you can see, the primary navigation menu and the main mobile navigation menu are the same, which is typically how you will create them. Want to make sure that the main menu is on both your primary and your mobile navigation. Those options are down here. But so this one has blog as its top one, as a top navigation menu, giving, test tabs, demo, and news, and then subpages come from those. I'll show you what that looks like here. And in order to edit anything that's currently in here, you could change the name of anything that already exists by clicking to open it and changing it like that. And then once your change is done, of course, save the menu. There are multiple ways to add items to your menu. The easiest and best way is if you are linking to a page within your site. Just go over here and you can see pages as an option. Find the page that you want to add to your site, if it's like one of our most recent ones, or you can view all and say, I want to link to job descriptions. You select it and then you click on Add to Menu and it'll appear right down here. And then you can drag and drop it to wherever you want it to be. If you want it to be a submenu, you just drag it underneath an option and pull it over, and it'll automatically appear as a submenu, and you can pull it over one more time to be a submenu, a tertiary menu item here. And in order to remove something from your list, of course, just drop down, remove. Now, if you have, if you want to put a link up here to a page outside of your site, go down here to custom links. So say, just want to send someone to google.com. Add that to the menu. And then the one thing you want to make sure if you're linking to a page outside of your site, make sure that it opens in a new window. I'm not seeing that option because I am not logged in with my typical account. If you're logged in as an administrator, you should see an option down here to open link in a new tab. Select that. All right, now if you want to link to something within your site, but an anchor link within your site. So for example, you have a tab on your page or an accordion. So see, I opened up this accordion and it gives me this URL. I can link directly to this page, to this accordion, and have this accordion section open up by making it a local link, taking everything from after edu. Going over here, pasting that in here. Adding this to the menu. And then you can see that all pops up as such, and that will take you to this page, to the section on the page. What was that, Arn? Can you unmute and just ask the question? Probably be easier.
I was just letting you know that the last time I was working in menus, I was not seeing that option to open in a new tab.
Okay, if you create something like that, I believe that that's only, I'm learning that today. I'm signed in with my non-super admin access. I think that's a setting that we have to change for users. So if you see that, let us know, and we can go in and make that option available to you as just a regular administrator, or if you have editors that need to be able to do that, we'll make that change for you, and then you should be able to see that in the future.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Good question, thank you. All right. Another fun thing that you can do with your menus is to have multiple columns set up for them. So you can see for most of the pages that we have like just a single column that drops down, since we don't have, too many options underneath them. But if you were to go to the Georgia State homepage, you can see that each of these menu options has multiple columns. And that's something that you'll have to turn in a ticket to us to set that up for you. And we'll of course ask you, are you sure you want to make it multiple columns? Because you really need to have a lot of options to make that worthwhile. And once you set up multiple columns, each of these has to have multiple columns. The least amount of columns you can have once you set it up for multiple columns is 2. So just be aware that there are limitations to it. If you set up multiple columns, you can't just have one of these options have a single column. They all have to have multiple columns. But once you do that, these options underneath here will make a lot more sense. How many columns do you want under this navigation drop-down setting? So if you have multiple columns set up for your site, and of course we'll have to set that up for you, You can then choose how many columns you want under each of these sections, because you can have them different. Let's go to one that actually has multiple. So demo, we can say has 3, and blog, we can say has 2 columns under it. And then you go into each of the subpages listed underneath this top tier one, and you can choose which column do you want it to go into. So I want this one to go into column 1, and then I want this one to go into column 2. So let me reset that. And another really cool thing that you can do, especially if you have a large site and you're going to have, for example, like the main GSU page, if you're going to have like a lot of options underneath your about menu item or academics like this, it's much better to set them up as their own individual menus. So you would create a new menu, for example, about, or a new menu for academics by clicking on create a new menu, and then you would name it. So let me just do that for you. Yeah, just leave the page. So I would name this blog, and I'll replace the blog on the home page. Then you click on create a menu. And once that happens, you now have a new menu that you can use, and you can choose to make it, if this is going to be your primary navigation menu going forward, you can then select that and match your mobile navigation menu. But it's telling you currently primary and mobile are set to main menu. We'll leave it as such for now. So I'm going to create a new menu here for blog. I'm just going to add a bunch of pages to it. They'll all appear here. Can make that a subpage. This is a subpage. There, like that. I'm going to save that menu. Then I'm going to go back to the main navigation menu. And I am going to, instead of having these 2 pages be subpages of the blog, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a submenu pull in underneath blog now. And I'm going to select which submenu I want to appear there, and it's going to be the one I labeled blog. And now watch what happens. You can see the menu change. These pages, which were subpages before, now appear in the main navigation. And blog is displaying everything that was in that blog menu. So the benefits of this are your primary navigation menu isn't going to be ginormous if you have something as large as, say, the main GSU site. You break everything up into proper menus, and then you can use this blog menu in other locations as well. If you want to use it as a side menu, you can. If you want to have it for, there are other ways you can use it other than just the main navigation menu, and that makes that possible. So it's a cool tool to be aware of. And one thing you'll want to be aware of too is your top navigation menu. Try to keep the number of items listed here to like 6 or less. And try to keep them smaller titles than this. This is not really meant to be something in the top navigation menu. So keep them as short and descriptive as possible, and try to keep it down to at least at the most 6.